All right, we're ready to start. Coach Bobo will make an opening statement, then we'll open up for questions. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, hats off to Georgia. Came in and dominated the game and really all three phases. More physical than us at the line of scrimmage, and it showed. Too many lost yardage plays offensively to get us behind the chains, and didn't have enough explosive plays offensively. Defensively, obviously, number one thing is we couldn't stop the run. Inability to get off the field on third down. Just a long night. Okay, and hats off to them. We got one more week against Kentucky, and just challenge the guys that another opportunity to go fight, and we're going to find out who wants to fight. If you want to fight, they'll be on the plane going to Lexington. Questions?
Go to Ben Briner with the first one.
Hey, Mike. On the topic of fight, just how much fight did you see from both Luke and Kevin in the way that they kind of approached and played today?
Well, it was good to see Luke Doty. It was. I mean, I'm looking at his numbers, and completed a high percentage. Obviously, the 2 turnovers are not good, but sometimes you're gonna make mistakes as a young player. But his competition and the way he competes and the way he fights is something that can be built around. Just finished talking in there, and Luke's the one that grabbed them together and broke it down, which was good to see. Taking ownership. Of his play in this team, and that's what this team needs is leadership, and for a freshman to step up and be vocal was good to see. Kevin Harris, it was tough. 53 yards that he gained. I know he caught 4 catches for 30 yards. Wish we could have gave him a little bit more space, but that's a tough defense. It's tough to run against. But I thought it wasn't his best game statistically, but I thought it was his best game as far as breaking yards. I mean, having yards after contact. Really good game by him.
David Cloninger.
Hey, Mike, how was Ernest Jones? I saw he didn't play the second half there.
Yeah, I think he got banged up on maybe the second drive of the game. Tried to go the rest of the first half, was in and out, and they ruled him out and told me he was out. So I'm not sure how serious the injury is.
Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Mike, just kind of sticking with that a little bit. Just how hard is it to execute a defensive game plan when you have so many guys out? Then obviously you lose Ernest the second one.
Well, obviously it's tough. There's a lot of guys that are out. We knew out coming into this game. We lost JJ on Friday, going into Friday's practice. Jalen Dickerson was banged up, but like I just told those kids in there, part of being a man is you don't make excuses, and you don't let people make excuses for you, and that's part of it. It doesn't define who you are as an individual. It doesn't define who you are as an offensive defense. It doesn't define who you are as a Gamecock going forward next week and beyond next week. Is how you respond to that, and don't let somebody make an excuse for it. It's easy to sit here and say we didn't have this, we didn't have that. I mean, that's evident. But we went out there and we played ball, and if you're on the field and you're wearing a Gamecock uniform, you need to fight your ass off.
Josh Kendall.
They got mine. Thank you.
Dick Cox.
Mike, can you talk about the character of your team? You're down 45-10. You got the ball on your own 2 of just fighting and putting together a 98-yard drive there in the fourth quarter.
Well, I've been proud, of these guys. Really, the last couple of weeks of when things haven't gone well. There's been a continuation of effort and fight and strain, and offensively, really that they've been led by Sadarius Hutchinson up there, and then you got it on the 1. I said let's just go 99, or on the 2, let's go 98. The guys played for 60 minutes. They didn't look at the scoreboard, and obviously it wasn't in our favor. And just to do that at the end of the game with some young players in there, with Luke Doty, Rashad Amos busting the run, and I can't say enough about Nick Muse, the way he played. Nick Muse is made of the right stuff. He really is. He's what you want as a Gamecock because he cares. It's important to him. It's important to him, and it shows in his play.
Mike Yuva.
Mike, what was it like earlier this week in terms of just some of the seniors? Obviously, it's a unique situation for you, being the interim head coach on senior night. But what was that moment like for those guys? And did you have any message for the team in terms of just looking at them in terms of how they've handled things over the last couple of weeks and years?
Well, I think it starts with all those guys, and sometimes you want to look at your legacy as as how many wins or what you left the program. But the legacy of these seniors is showing these young guys how you don't quit. When you're not dealt the hand that you want, you continue to fight. And proud of those guys, especially number 50 on the offensive line. I think that showed a lot when he ran on the field and all those linemen ran out there just to take a picture with him. And he's played really well this year, and it's been about the team. It hadn't been about him, and I think that's what these seniors are going to leave these guys is that, hey, we're going to continue to fight and play our butts off, no matter the circumstances.
John Whittle.
It seemed like the O-line really struggled tonight. Is that a fair statement? And if so, what would you attribute that to?
To Georgia for number one. I think really they've shut really everybody down except for two teams, which is Alabama and Florida, and they threw for close to 400 yards in the passing game. They got a really stout run defense. We had too much penetration on our back blocks. Too much penetration inside, and we couldn't get on the edge a couple times. So, I mean, they've got a good front. They're athletic. They've got size. I know they had some guys down too, but, they could run. And when we did get on the corner, their speed from their linebackers showed on some of our outside plays. More success was running, inside when we were able to crease them. But talented front with speed.
Ben Briner.
Hey, Mike. I saw kind of right at the end, right after the game ended, you grabbed Luke and kind of gave him a few words. I guess could you share maybe kind of what you said to him and what kind of your message was to him after today?
Well, I said proud of the way you fought. You don't lack confidence, and that's part of being a great player. Is you believe in yourself and you believe in other guys around you. You made some mistakes, but you're going to learn from those things, and you're going to be a damn good player because you're not scared. I think that was the gist of it. Probably not word for word, but that was close.
Any other questions for Coach? Ben, one more. Sorry, Ben, one more.
I know you guys had published a list of people who were going to walk at some point early in the week, and then there were a few more guys on that list. Did they come to you and ask, or did they just not make the first list? What was sort of the process there?
They were more than I thought when I went over it the other day with George Wynn, our director of football operations. I think they went to him and wanted to walk. I asked I'm not going to name. I asked a couple when they came out and thought you weren't walking, and they said, well, they're probably coming back, but they just did it in case. I can't speak for every one of them, but that was a couple of them's response.
Eric Boynton.
Yeah, Coach, when you've already got a number of players out or down, and all of a sudden right before the game, you have a number of other key players scratched, what do you kind of say to your team to really kind of keep their heads in the game, not let them get too down when they know they're going to have to move forward without a lot of very good teammates?
Well, it's you kind of relate it to things aren't going to go the way you want, for the rest of your life. You think things we always see that there's this, this perfect life when you look on social media, these perfect programs where everything we think happens, the way, where everything's great, but it's not. Everybody's got issues. Everybody's dealing with problems. It's how you respond to those things and how you stand up. And part of being a man is standing up and going to work. And providing, for your family and doing the right things. And that's been my message. That's been our coaches' messages. I think our coaches have done a great job of not flinching, of coaching who's out there. We had a number of guys that hadn't taken a snap tonight that played. They coached their tails off. They got them ready to play, and those kids are going to be better for it. Because one, they went through this, one, they had to play, and I think they responded the right way. And, I think you learn more when you get your butt kicked than you do sometimes in success, and we're still playing a game of football. Our Reverend Jackson in the devotion the other day, talked about sometimes, happiness is based off what happens, but we got to look at the pure joy of being alive and being able to play the game. It's not just our circumstances, it's what we get to do. So that's kind of been our message. It's not the way we envision it, and it's never going to be the way you envision it. Every player that's ever went to school, it doesn't happen the way they thought it was going to happen when they got recruited. You're hit with adversity. How are you going to respond?
Phil Kornblut.
Yeah, hey, Mike. I know in a game like this, there aren't a lot of individual plays that maybe will stick with you, but that one run by Kevin Harris where he went the extra effort to get that first down, is that like a cutout play that that you showed teams over and over again when you talk about never quitting and playing with a lot of heart?
That was an individual effort, and we play as a team, but individually there's times you're going to have to make individual efforts to sustain drives, to make plays that are explosive plays, and that was another example of that. I thought he ran extremely hard tonight. It's 4th and 1. We're on our side of the field. We basically get stuffed at the point of attack, and coaches on their headphones are like, "Oh," but Kevin didn't. He didn't give up. He continued to fight and got a first down. And I was proud of those guys all night offensively, the way they fought. Even defensively, we get turnovers and then a punt return, and they bowed their neck enough to hold them to a field goal. I know the penalty helped, but just fight. And Kevin's a great example of that. We've got great individual effort at times of playing hard. And examples that you'll be able to show the team. This team, in my opinion, has got to take more ownership of that. Guys got to demand it from more guys, within the team. And you hear coaches say this all the time. You can't be coach led. You got to be player led. And that's true for this, to get over the hump, players have got to take ownership and take leadership. And Kevin's not a vocal guy, but that demonstrated that. And then, like I said, after the game, Luke Doty brings him up and breaks him down and talks about what he wants going forward the next week. Those are good signs.
Last question goes to John Whittle.
Deshaun Fenwick was out and Keir Thomas. Can you share the status of those guys going forward?
Deshaun, unless right now he's tested positive for COVID. Had a test on Thursday, came back negative. Came in Friday, didn't feel well. We tested him. I'm not sure which test. If it was the one that you get results quicker, I'm not sure. Have to ask our trainer. I'll have a better answer probably when I meet with you guys on Tuesday. Keir Thomas. I'm not sure. It's probably wait and see. I think he got a little healthier as the week went on, but he was not 100%. So it'll be wait and see as this week comes. But if he comes back, Deshaun comes. I don't know the protocol and how many negatives he's got to have, or if they tested him today. I just know he's out, and more than likely he'll be out. Him and JJ will be out the rest of the season.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Is that it? Okay.